new features on Riverside FM.fm. For those of you who would ever consider starting their own podcast, your own podcast, because I'm talking to you, our wonderful audience, Riverside FM. And my cousin, who has her own podcast in Dallas, we were chatting the other day through Instagram, which you and I were just talking about a second ago. And she also uses Riverside FM. And then I, of course, got on her because she probably didn't use our link.
Oh, we would have gotten like $1 million bonus, wouldn't we?
Exactly.
Damn it. Cause
she did it a long time before she even knew I had a podcast. So I'm just and I actually didn't give her any shit for that. She was actually complimenting us because and my response was, you'll like this. My response was, we've always been doing video. I've just been too lazy to put clips on reels and stuff like that. She's like, "Oh, well, good job." Because she said, "Good job on starting using video for your podcast."
Oh, funny. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Love that.
We've been using video for just a few years here.
A while, yeah.
We're halfway through our 5th year.
I think it's really good that you encourage others to think about doing a podcast, and because people should if they have given it any thought. But I will say this: you and I are like the karaoke people of podcasting, and the reason I say that is if you go out to karaoke, the person who's running the show and starts singing, if they're not really good, you'd say, "I can do that."
Yeah, that makes sense.
Medium run of the mill.
Yeah.
Karaoke people.
Poddioke.
Of podcasting. Yeah, Poddioke. Nice.
That's the next podcast.
There you go. Poddioke.
If you need an idea for your next podcast, just come to us. We're full of ideas.
We'll just make stuff up, we normally do.
Just like all the statistics. Or at least 97% of them.
We don't make them all up, but yes.
No, exactly. No, you're right. And her name is Becca. When Becca decided to do a podcast, or when I found out she was doing a podcast, she had made the decision. She didn't know that I had one, and we started chatting about him. And, that was the one thing I said to her. I said, the nice thing about the podcast, we don't have a lot of listeners. Like to fix that, folks. Ears bleed. Remember from last week? Ears
friends.
Bleeding? Yeah, tell your friends.
Yeah.
Tell your friends, tell your enemies.
Ears bleeding.
Anyway, it's like my therapy. It's really enjoyable to get on here every week and have a conversation with you and go down a whole bunch of different rabbit holes that I might not be able to. Well, and I will, because I know Matt Smolik is listening to this going, we talk every single day and we go down rabbit holes. I'm like, yes, Matt, we do. Absolutely. But I'm talking about sharing that with everybody, not just the two-way communication that we usually have.
Naughtiness. Let's say
naughtiness.
Matt has
a lot of naughtiness.
Dirty mouth.
Dirty mouth.
Dirty mind, which is even
dirty
worse.
Mind, dirty mouth. He's got the whole package. That's why we enjoy each other's company.
Which makes me like him a lot. And he's a listener.
I think we call that no filter.
I think you are correct, my friend.
That's his new podcast, by the way.
No filter.
Yeah.
I like it.
I think he's going to make a whole $1, maybe.
Let's not try to oversell it. Maybe 75 cents.
Maybe 75 cents. Well, I was trying to be kind with inflation.
Yeah, I wish other people would be kinder with inflation.
Yeah, right? Oh, my goodness. Shazam the man.
We just got back from Tampa. And I thought, it'd be kind of fun. I had an oncology appointment with my, seriously, one of the finest in the nation, multiple myeloma doctors. And I was fortunate enough to get referred into her. And I've been seeing her for quite some time now. And
does your wife know?
I've been seeing her on the side. Yeah, Lisa goes every time.
Oh, so it's that kind. Yeah, I see. I understand.
She does go, hey. So, yeah, Lisa went with me, and she's been with me several times when I went there. But we decided, you know what, traffic. I hate traffic, perhaps as much as anything, and we'll try to avoid.
Haven't heard that before.
Yeah, I know, but try to avoid it any way I can. And so we went up midday Wednesday, And my appointment was Thursday afternoon, and today is Friday, and we came back this morning. So we did a couple of nights at the hotel, which is the Hilton Hotel, which I've been to. There, and reach for the bell. I've been to several times, and used to do that when for our gig when I was working the same company that you did. And so I know the hotel, I know the area. It truly is 4 minutes from the Muppet Cancer Center.
Wow.
It seriously. Well, we better get going because we got to be there in 6 minutes, and well, it takes 4 to get there. So.
Wait, we got to take a step back here. Are you sure you went to the right place? Was it Moffats or Muppets?
It could have been Muppets. Hey, John, welcome. They had, I think, Mr.
But you were so out
Kermit
of it, you
the
just
Frog
didn't
was
know.
there. He was, yeah. Kermit the Frog.
Kermit the Frog.
And he welcomed me. No, and so it was good to be there, and it was kind of fun to get away for a couple of days. We had dinner at 2 really special places, but I wish we would have done them in a different order.
Oh, no.
So, Lisa, you're listening to this part. You don't have to because we already talked about it. Well, no, they're not bad. We went to Cooper's Hawk. Have you been there, Cooper's Hawk Winery? No. They're all over the country, or in several states at least.
Okay.
And it was good. I like it. It's got a little, to explain it, it kind of has a little winery store. They make their own wine, so it's a winery. But it has a store in the front of the house. And you walk in, and it has glass, nice wine glasses and cocktail glasses. There was a Lazy Susan we looked at for $75.
Damn it, Susan.
Holy cats. If she's that lazy, it seems to me that $75 is way too much for her.
Yeah, I would say when you have to compare Susie to Karen, Susie wins out every single time.
Typically, but she's still lazy.
Right.
So anyway, we went in, and as soon as we walked in, and this was the last night's place, as soon as we walked in, it's like volume level goes up to way higher than my volume was when we started tonight.
Okay.
It's just loud. And so part of it is because we're not 30 years old and single and
You're not
hanging at the bar. I know you find that hard to believe.
I do.
Because I'm 30 years old and married.
Right.
And have a 30.
That's it. That's
have
okay.
a 33-year-old son. That's just kind of a weirdness.
I can get it. The math works.
At
least it does on TikTok.
Well, no, I love that you're bad at math. So anyway, we went in. Once we went to the table, though, it got remarkably quieter, and it was nice. It was okay. However, the night before, we went to Fleming's, and Fleming's is just kind of in its own league with Ruth's Chris, probably.
Yeah. Oh, I know Fleming's very well.
Yeah, I know you do. But what's another one that falls in there?
I can see the logo. I can't think of the name though.
Yeah, there's another one that fits right in there. We'll think of it. But it's wonderful, and our waiter was great, and yada yada. So the long and short is, we had a really nice time in Tampa. I wish we had restaurants at that level here. Because and then by the same token, I'm glad we don't, because we'd be there way more than I can afford, because it's not cheap.
So I want to talk to you about that, because it's an interesting thing. We've often talked about how I hate chain restaurants. If I can avoid a chain restaurant, I will, because I just don't like them. And when I talk about chain restaurants, I'm talking about Cheddar's or Applebee's, or
McDonald's.
Anything that's really a chain. I would even say I try to avoid fast food, but I would much rather eat at a mom and pop fast food restaurant than I would at a chain fast food restaurant.
Generally speaking, I tend to agree.
There's a fine line though, and I fight it too, because Fleming's, Ruth Chris, those are chain restaurants.
Yeah.
But they're high-end chain restaurants, and they have good food. So it's really difficult for me, because I almost feel like a hypocrite when I'm saying I don't do chain restaurants, but you take me to a Fleming's, I'm pretty happy with that.
Oh, and that's just it. That's a great point. And so you can't, when you're painting with a broad brush, it's not always accurate or good. It's
right.
So you have to say, Yeah, we were gonna go to a Cheddar's. I'm glad you said that. I've been to a Cheddar's in years. I mean, 20 years probably. And then there's one just a few miles from right here. So we were gonna go. One of the pastors of the church said, "Hey, let's meet there." And Lisa goes, "I saw something on Facebook that says we shouldn't go there." So I'm just gonna leave it at that. So we ended up at Chili's instead. And Chili's is fine. And we used to go when Michael was young, and I mean, it was great. And did the baby back ribs, and they were pretty good, and that was kind of our thing. So it was okay. But yeah, when you talk about high end chains, we went to Ruth's Chris on Maui before, and praying for all the people in Maui, by the way.
Absolutely.
The fires. Oh my gosh, it's just so sad. And I know the areas they're talking about because Lisa and I have been there, and it's just beautiful and horrendously sad at the same time. So anyway, we're praying for all of them. That said,
absolutely,
there was a Ruth's Chris right next to our hotel when we were in Maui. And we're like, well, it's Ruth's Chris. I mean, how bad could it be? And we walked 100 yards from
famous
the hotel
last words
to Ruth's Chris. Well, not really. This was it was an awesome place. But we knew we could count on them to be awesome. Right. So we went there, and yeah, it was expensive. Well, let's see. It's Maui, it's Ruth's Chris, and we're having steaks and whatever else. And so it was great. So and I've been to many, 20 Ruth's Chris steakhouses over the years, and that's just indicative of how old I am. But you can find chain restaurants within, and I won't say Ruth's Chris, but within that realm that are not great. And we've probably all had them, and our listeners probably have stories of places they've been that weren't
absolutely.
That great. So,
and
anyway.
And to the original point, though, I still, if I were given the choice between, if you put two steakhouses next to each other, one being a Ruth's Chris or a Fleming's, and another one being a mom and pop, only one shop, I'm still going to the mom and pop. I'd much rather do that.
Yeah, it's a really good point. I would do that certainly to give. I'd like to give them the business, although a lot of them are locally owned anyway. The franchises,
right? That's true.
So even though they have that branding, and they certainly have, and you and I know this because when you go into a dealership that's corporate owned, they have certain things they have to do a certain way.
Right.
And that's kind of the same with a lot of these places too.
Yeah. So Now let's, folks, trigger warning. Let's get a little gross. We're going to get a little gross here.
Wow. Okay.
Hey, Mom. Not horribly.
Mom. No, Mom. Mom, turn up the volume.
Yeah, exactly. So speaking of non-chain restaurants, I had the opportunity, even though I took a week off. I think I told everyone I was having a week off. I don't remember if I did or not, but I had a week off. But my boss was in town, and he asked me to go out to lunch with him. Just because, why not? I knew I'd be in town because I had the week off. I'm like, sure, I'll go out to lunch. And we went to a great little restaurant. It might still be a chain. I'm not sure. I don't remember the name of it, but it was near his hotel in Franklin. And it was 11:30-ish. So they still had their brunch menu. And so they had on there a mac and cheese.
Oh, geez.
Brunch. So it had eggs in it. It was homemade mac and cheese, bacon, mushrooms. It was divine.
Eggs?
Scrambled eggs.
Oh, scrambled. Okay.
Scrambled eggs. Yeah. It was probably the best thing I've eaten in a long time. Now, back up a little bit. We're reading through it, and they had a fried chicken on the menu, which is no, you're fine. Chicken fried chicken, which is usually served on a bed of mac and cheese. And there was another restaurant called Sapphire. Couldn't think of the name during the meal because I was trying to tell him about it, which he's been there. So he knew what I was talking about. Neither of us could remember the name, but that was the name of it. It's Sapphire. No longer exists. It's gone now, but they had the best fried chicken. And I remember saying, my boss's name is Chris. I remember saying to Chris, that chicken fried chicken was the best you've ever tasted in your life. But the minute you eat it, you've got about 15 minutes before you hit the bathroom. Because it's just so rich and so good.
And they put X-Lax in it.
And they must. Yeah. They must. So I ordered this mac and cheese because it just sounded so good. He got meatloaf with a side of mac and cheese, not the eggs and stuff, just the mac and cheese with nothing in it.
Okay.
I ate that so fast and it was so good. So good. Best mac and cheese I have eaten in probably my entire life. It was fantastic.
All right.
We went to the meeting room or the meeting place and sat down to have a meet. It wasn't just lunch; it was also a meeting. So we were having our meeting, and both of us are sitting there. Hold that thought. It wasn't 20 minutes later. We were both not in the same bathroom, but we were both in the bathroom. Yeah. But I walked back into the meeting and sorry again for the grossness, guys, but I walked in the meeting and I looked at Chris and he knew exactly where I was and what I was doing. And I just looked at him and I said, worth it. Totally worth it. That mac and cheese was totally worth it.
But you knew it going in.
Yeah. Well, no, I didn't. Not that mac and cheese. It would have been the chicken fried chicken at the other restaurant that did it. I knew that restaurant. I knew every single time I went there. That's what I got. And I knew I had to be somewhere in good 15, 20 minutes. This restaurant, I will go again, and I will have that same dish for brunch.
Wait. Let's just say it this way. You'll go again, and you'll go again.
Exactly. Yeah. So this time, though, I'm not going to. I'm definitely not going to go into a meeting afterwards. I'm going because there's enough time to get from this restaurant back to my house.
Barely, because I know how you like pooping in public places.
It's just that does not happen I do not take that decision very lightly.
Well, and look, this is what you have in. Okay, this is very funny. This is what you have in common with certain women that I know, and that is the ability to hover. And I'm not sure you can hover while you're doing that. Certainly not so. Well. You got to have a good horse stance, karate people, in order to be able to do that.
Yep. Yeah. No. There with that sort of thing. There's no. I mean, you're lucky to get your pants down in time.
I would feel lucky. That's terrific. Wow. Wow. I didn't even. I don't. And this is me being ignorant, apparently, but I don't even recognize that stuff where you go, well, I know I'm going to have to poop as soon as I eat this, so I better buckle up and eat really fast so I can get somewhere.
Yeah. Well, now, so
I just don't make the correlation, and that's on.
There are certain things. I know if I eat something super greasy, like if I go into one of those mom and pop burger places and you put down a butter burger in front of me, and it just which we love, and you just see the butter and the grease. A Juicy Lucy. You are familiar with Juicy Lucy's.
I am. Yep.
A Juicy Lucy. Yeah. Yep. If you look at a Juicy Lucy, folks, if you've never seen a Juicy Lucy or had a Juicy Lucy, you are missing out on one of the. It is. You're missing out on one of the finest things in life. They cook the cheese inside the burger.
Inside the burger.
So when you bite into it, it explodes and burns your mouth. I'm not. No, it really doesn't. But you do want to eat it because it's hot. Exactly. It's fantastic. But I know a good Juicy Lucy, like one from Matt's in Minneapolis, the inventor of the Juicy Lucy.
Yeah.
That thing's going to send you to the bathroom.
It's going to send you to the bathroom.
It's going to send me to the bathroom.
No, I'm not going to run to the bathroom when I'm going to.
You're not going to run, but you're going to clench and walk really, really fast.
No, it doesn't do that.
So what you're saying is you have an iron gut.
Maybe, or to a degree. I don't know. I'm not as sensitive as you. I think everyone knows that.
And we should experiment with this, though, because as we have talked about
Lucy's
before,
on the air.
Yeah, no. We have, so I tend to have a less greasy, healthier diet. I don't eat a ton of greasy foods.
Let's just say less greasy.
Less greasy.
Because the jury is still out on a lot of these things. Remember the food pyramid? Totally messed up.
Gone.
And we've talked about that. So, there are some animal fat. Some people swear by it. Some people it kicks their butts. And so it's healthier is not always less greasy. Usually it is though.
Yeah, exactly. So
okay.
We'll keep it like that. I tend to eat less greasy food. So when I eat something that's greasy, or even I cook, what Jen thinks I cook with a lot of butter. But if you've ever seen a chef in a restaurant and how much butter they cook with, I'm not even using a fraction.
I have to tell you about, just real quickly, and this is only a really quick thing. I want to rush and see who is my buddy, the chef that I follow on YouTube. He is incredible. Hold on.
And we're all sitting here listening to John.
I know, and I'm typing really fast. Anyway, but he's amazing, and he cooks with so much butter. I love this guy. It's French chef Jean-Pierre.
Okay.
He is, and Chef Jean-Pierre with a dash between Jean and Pierre, in between the two of them. The dude is just hilarious. He has this terrible accent. He's lived here for, like 100 years and still has an accent. I'm just kidding. He's probably only 20. He's probably younger than I am, prick. But he's really good. And he will just say, I just use a little butter, friends, just a little. And he has this entire bowl.
Slab, just,
butter. And he's just awesome. So do check him out if you get a chance.
Will do.
But that's what I thought as soon as you said, just a little butter, maybe too much. But yeah.
But that's what, honestly, it makes makes food good. I mean, you just slather it in butter and it's just so good. But I have a feeling that's probably what sent both of us to the bathroom. It was just that rich. It was so good though, John. I even, obviously you have an iron stomach, so you could go have it and you wouldn't have the same issue. But I would suffer through it again. I would take an Imodium before I go.
No, that's good. So you're, before you start, hey, here you go, cheers, Imodium. And you just, really before you start, I love that. I think that's preventive medicine.
And sometimes, when it comes to mac and cheeses, I have said the same thing about other mac and cheeses, how good they are, but that's usually when I'm trying to sober up. I was completely sober this time, and I'm thinking this mac and cheese is the best I've ever had.
Have you had
did I mention bacon? Did I mention there's bacon there too?
You did say bacon. Well, but eggs too. Have you had lobster mac and cheese?
I have, and I don't like it.
Oh gosh, really?
Yeah.
It didn't have enough butter, probably.
Probably not. Not. No, I don't know. I'm not, I don't dislike lobster, but I don't seek lobster out. Okay. I would much rather have crab over lobster.
Interesting. Yeah. All right.
I know
Lisa had a really nice risotto last night, a crab risotto with corn, and it was just almost like a chowder with crab and risotto. And gosh, she said I did have a taste. Delicious. So, I'm kind of with you on the crab thing. The crab is just more work. Lobster, you pull the tail off if you're not eating the entire lobster, and there it is, and you just slice it and off you go. Crab, you got to do some cracking.
Who said I'm not making other people do it for me?
You are that wealthy. I understand that. And when you have your maids and your chefs helping you with sorry.
I'm just like a child. I even make them cut my steak too.
It's good to be rich, isn't it?
It's good to be me. It's good to be me.
I can't tell you how many times I've said that just today.
It's good to be me or you?
It's Nick. Yeah, Nick.
Oh, yeah. That's good to be me. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's it, everyone. Just bask in my greatness. I mean, come on. Why not? Soak it in. All right. Anyway.
No, I'm done basking.
Have you been watching? I have a feeling I already know the answer, but have you been watching the new Star Trek: Strange New Worlds?
No. Wow. No.
I know this came out of left field. I'm changing subjects now because you're making me hungry.
We never do that.
No, never. Rabbit hole? What? So I have been watching. I'm a Star Trek fan. I'm not a weird Trekkie like most people, but I do enjoy myself a good Star Trek. And I'm sure, John, because we have talked about it before, how a lot of people are complaining that we just can't find a good Star Trek anymore. That's like the old ones, the old William Shatner and
Sure.
Leonard Nimoy. But Strange New Worlds, which was a spinoff of one they're canceling, it's like taking the Star Treks from the 60s, the original, and then giving it the special effects that they couldn't do in the 60s.
Yeah.
It's cool. Kind of fun. I mean, some of the episodes are corny, but they're fun. And there's some good action and some good acting. And if you haven't watched it, I would highly recommend it. I watched the newest episode last night, and it was a cliffhanger, a part 1 of 2. And I'm like, awesome. Damn it. I should have waited. Because I like to binge things. I don't like to just watch week to week. And I watched this one because I didn't want to wait. But you can watch the whole first season and, whatever episodes are done on the second season if you get a chance. I'd highly recommend. The second season is actually turning out to be a little bit better than the first season. I have to say.
Awesome.
But it's pretty good. So if you get a chance.
I really like and you'll know all of them I'm talking about, the ones where Chris Pine was Shatner.
Yep.
And the movies.
Yeah.
Those were cool. And first of all, you look at Chris Pine, you go, serious? Because he could be Shatner all those years ago when he was younger. And oh my gosh. So it's pretty cool. I like that though. And I like what they did with Doc and Spock. And I really enjoyed that.
They did say they are finally going to put together another one. Probably be the last one, but yeah. And I love, Zoe.
Deschanel.
No, not Deschanel.
Zoe
Saldana, who plays Uhura.
Got it.
Yep. I think she's fantastic.
She was terrific. Well. Oh my gosh, she really she was terrific.
Now, I will say, so this, going back to Strange New Worlds, this is, so I don't know what you know about the Star Trek history, but the very first pilot episode, does anyone here know that the reason Star Trek exists is because of Lucy, I Love Lucy Arnaz?
What?
Yeah.
Lucille Ball, you mean?
Lucille Ball, thank you.
What?
That they were the production company that bought the original
Desilu Studios.
Yes. So all of Star Trek was at Desilu Studios, and they're the ones that produced it and got it on television.
Initially?
Yep. Initially, yeah.
I did not know that.
We would not have Star Trek without Lucille Ball. Yeah, it's crazy. So anyway, so the original, the pilot, they didn't have Captain Kirk. They had Captain Pike.
Okay.
And some of the other characters were different. So Strange New Worlds is before Captain Kirk. So James Kirk is in the show. Okay. And so you were talking about Chris Pine, this other gentleman whose name I just can't think of right now, but he was on Vampire Diaries. I know you're a big fan of Vampire Diaries.
But I do watch it. I have a toothbrush, Vampire Diaries toothbrush.
Nice. So anyway, so he was one of the characters on there. So he's well known, but he also makes a very good Kirk. They favor each other just a little bit. He and Chris Pine.
Okay.
So he makes.
And for those of you who are younger, so those of you who are younger, when he says favor each other, it means they look alike. Okay, go ahead. Right. Continue, Nick.
Yeah.
It's important for me to.
It's a Southern thing.
No, it's important for me for the younger viewers and listeners,
right,
to make sure they understand what you say. So
I'm sure they appreciate that very much.
Because I get the young vibe. Yeah, not so much.
Because I don't look at the demographic information and know our audience at all.
Exactly.
I don't think we have anyone below 30. I don't think it's below 35.
There are years older.
Peyton doesn't count.
Well, she does too count.
She doesn't listen often enough. I've blocked it on her Spotify. Anyway,
I know, but I actually sent her the link.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome.
It's not like she can't get it on the website either. Anyway, so
PoddiMouths.com.
PoddiMouths.com.
Okay.
Wah.
No, please continue.
So Kirk is on the show, but he's only a lieutenant.
Okay.
But he's not a main character because his brother Sam is actually on the Enterprise. Kirk is not even on the Enterprise. So this season Uhura has been on now. She started as an ensign.
Okay.
And I think she still actually is an ensign. I think she started as an intern, whatever they call those. So there's Christopher Pike, who you know Christopher Pike from the movies. Christopher Pike is the one who got Kirk to sign up.
Okay.
That Admiral Pike in the movie where he got
I got it. I know who you're talking about.
That's Chris Pike. So anyway, he is the captain, and they're introducing all these different characters along the way. So now we've met Uhura because she was in the first season. At the end of the first season, we finally get to meet James T. Kirk. We've met his brother because he's a kind of a semi-regular. And then this season, this last episode, we met Scotty for the first time.
Oh, okay.
All of them are lieutenants, so they're all very young.
But this is in the television season. The movies, I think they did. Excuse me. The first one with Chris Pine was in 2009.
Yeah,
as I recall, and then it moved into Star Trek Into Darkness.
Yep.
And then Beyond or whatever the next one was, but and those were all cool, and it was just kind of fun how they made them move from one to the next.
But the interesting thing about the movies is because it's not the property is not owned. I remember, I think it was Sony owned the property or something. Okay. So they had to make an alteration from the original. That's why we came up with the alternate timeline. So the movies they're actually an alternate timeline from the original. So in the original, Kirk had a brother, Sam.
Okay.
His dad survived. His dad didn't die.
Oh.
And so on and on and on. And Spock's mother never died in the original. So those made little changes so they could get around the copyright, if you will.
Okay. I did not think this was turning into a Star Trek.
No, podcast. I didn't realize how nerdy I am about that.
You are
all that
nerdy.
Stuff. A little nerdy.
Well, I really liked it, and if you have not seen it, because honestly, I bought these the movies.
Yeah.
Seriously, it's been less than 2 years ago, and I'm going. I never really saw this, and they're awesome. They're really good and well done.
But, I have to say almost all, because there are a couple of crappy ones. Almost all of the Star Trek movies are really, really good.
Yeah.
If you go all the way back to the original, which was done in 1979.
Wow. Yeah. Nicely done.
Thank you. Thank you. Now Kirstie Alley was in one of the original ones.
Seriously?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
so
right.
Anyway, but I just, and it all boils down to some of my fondest memories, and probably the reason I am a Star Trek fan is because my dad was a Star Trek fan, and we used to watch the movies together. Mm-hmm. And the first time I'd ever gone to a theater with my dad was to watch a Star Trek movie.
That's awesome.
So I enjoy Star Trek. I really do.
It's really cool. And I'm not, like you, I'm not a Star Trek nerd, but you gotta, when you know enough about it to kind of understand the characters and where they all go and the relationships,
all of that. Exactly.
For sure. And the does nothing goes nowhere, that door.
Yeah.
It's just kind of fun to see how they make it continue on.
Absolutely. And it's, the same thing could be said about James Bond. I know a lot about James Bond and all the different actors and what they did, how many they did, the ages that they were. It's not even being invested in something necessarily, but when you like something enough, you don't have to be nerdy about it, but it doesn't. You know what it is? I'm a history buff. So if I like something, I want to know the history of it. It doesn't matter. Anytime I move to a new city, first thing I do is I go buy history books. And I learned the history of the city.
You should probably do it before you move to the city because there's some crap.
Yeah, I've made that mistake several times. Yeah. But it is what it is.
I think someday we're going to have PoddiMouths nerds, and they're going to.
We already do.
Well, I mean, besides us,
right?
But I mean, they're going to say, I remember the TV series PoddiMouths, and we'll say, no, there was. No. But we would. I mean, if the money was right, probably.
No.
No.
Could you imagine this face on camera?
I'm seeing it right now, and it's
I have
beautiful.
I have a face for radio and a voice for silent film.
I think that's why they appreciate that we put our faces in front of the cameras, because we obviously don't care.
Obviously, yeah. Well, it's probably why we're so limited in our viewership, though, is because of our faces.
You're right. I know that there are other, they could have gotten some really high-powered actors to do this, but we were the only ones available.
Yeah. So. Well, the only ones available for the pay scale.
The pay scale is another issue, but we'll get to that later, because I don't, that's really something that's in process now that I think you and I are negotiating. Mm-hmm. We're going to need to wait until the authorities.
Well, I mean, we're going to strike. We're going to protest, just like the Writers Guild and the Actors Guild, because I mean, we are starting today the Podcast Guild, and if you're willing to join our podcast, what are those called? Union.
Guilds.
That's it. Union.
Oh, the union.
The podcast union. Yep. Sign up to that.
That's a little too broad. We're going to have to call it the PoddiMouths Union.
Oh, potty.
Yeah.
Well, how about the Potty Union? Potty Union. Potty onion.
Let's not shortcut
Potty
it
onion.
No. Let's call it the PoddiMouths Union, and then we can think of the merch store. We can sell union suits. Those drop seat things for people in cold climates. Yep. Of course, you know about those.
I know those very well.
PoddiMouths Union suits.
Yes.
So just a thought.
Yeah, and it's going to say potty on the flap.
Marketing. I'm not sure on the flap or in the front. Anyway,
no, and the mouths will be on the front. Potty will be on the back.
That's going to confuse. As soon as you say potty in the back, it's a problem.
No, here we go. It says potty on the back, and then when you flip the flap down, it says mouths.
And it says, just kidding.
I like it.
No.
Like it.
We're going to work on that. We'll work on the PoddiMouths Union suit. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. But we have to organize first, folks. So if you head up to PoddiMouths.com, check out all of the places that you can listen to this episode and past episodes. That's a start. You can also sign up for the newsletter. That's, sometimes I remember to send out, sometimes I don't. Actually, I do send it up pretty regularly, but once in a while I forget.
And you know what? If they listen to the podcast, they just go, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm missing more of this in a newsletter.
A newsletter?
Yeah.
It's not really a newsletter. It basically is everything that I put out everywhere else. It's just carbon
my
copy.
Mistake. I thought you said newsletter.
Newsletter. No, see, I would get a lot more viewers
if we had
to that. I know you would. I know you would. You are subscribed to this one, by the way. I just don't know if you ever see it in your inbox. Might check your spam box, folder.
I check my spam box, and I'm very happy that it goes there.
Sure, most people are at this point.
Sure. There it is. I checked my spam folder just like you asked me to.
Yep, there. It was there. You were right. I left it.
Yes, that's awesome. I love check your spam folder. You know how people always say that and they never say what to do. Yeah, it's in there. You were right.
Yes.
Love it.
All right, my friend.
Buddy, good to see you.
And good to see you as well. And folks, great to not see anybody because we can't see you, but I'm sure you're listening.
Welcome to send us pictures.
Please
Seriously.
Don't do that. Please
but
don't.
Not nude ones.
Depends.
Naked pictures.
It depends.
To PoddiMouths.com. Please do not.
Or email address, PoddiMouths@gmail.com. Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do that.
No. You want to give your phone number too? That you shouldn't text them to? Okay, good.
No, we'll just not check them in the email inbox.
That's exactly it. Maybe they'll go into spam.
Let's hope.
All right, folks, have a great week. We'll see you next week.
See ya.